Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Derek Sims, and I have the privilege of serving as the Program Director of Corporate and Sports Giving for the National Museum of African American History and Culture. And it is my extreme privilege to welcome all of you to the beautiful Oprah Winfrey Theater for today's discussion. I also want to thank everyone watching from home. Once we get started, we'll invite all of you to join in the conversation as well by entering your questions in the chat. But before we begin, I wanted to make sure to acknowledge a few of the staff members here who have gone above and beyond to make today possible. So, on behalf of Kevin Young, the Andrew Mellon Director of this museum, and the entire team, we thank you for joining us as we celebrate hip hop's 50th anniversary. So everyone in this room knows, and everyone watching around the world knows, that the artistry, the innovation, and the global impact that hip-hop has had on our culture and the entire world is incredible. So our museum is here to celebrate that, not just today, but every day. And I'm so excited to bring this esteemed panelist out to talk to you. But before we do that, I have to acknowledge the sponsors that made today possible. Without their support, we wouldn't be able to do the innovative programming that we have been known to produce here at this museum. So I specifically want to thank the members of our Sports Leadership Council, the Brooklyn Nets and New York Liberty Foundation, the LA Clippers, Robert Kraft and the New England Patriots Foundation, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Washington Commanders. Please join me in giving a round of applause for those donors who have invested in this museum and made today possible. I also want to thank a few of my colleagues who are behind the scenes and don't get the acknowledgement that they so richly deserve. I want to take a few moments just to acknowledge them today. Leslie Walker from our Office of Public Programs, Tiffany Townsend from our Office of Advancement, and up in the booth, our buddy Keith Madden, who serves as our theater director for the museum. They all worked tirelessly to put this panel together, so please give them a round of applause as well. Now we get to the good stuff. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce our esteemed panelists for today's discussion. As I mentioned, for those at home, please join in the chat once we get started, and I'm going to announce each panelist, and they're going to come out together as a group. Joining us first will be my colleague and friend, Dr. Damion Thomas, who serves as the museum's sports curator and director of the museum's Sports and Race Initiative. Next is a true DC legend, the iconic DJ Heat. DJ Heat is a well-experienced mixer and music archivist who also serves as the in-game DJ for the Washington Wizards, the Washington Mystics, and the DC Defenders. Next, we'll have a rising superstar who is a true triple threat. She is magnificent on the court, on the mic, and in the boardroom. Recording artist and key member of the reigning NCAA basketball champion LSU Tigers, Flau'Jae Johnson. Finally, please welcome our moderator for today's panel, senior culture writer for Andscape and frequent contributor to ESPN, Justin Tinsley, who will kick off today's discussion. Thank you all so much.
What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? It's a pleasure to have y'all out here and everybody watching at home and online. I've been looking forward to this event pretty much all week because it combines two of my favorite things in the world, and I venture to say two of y'all favorite things in the world. I know for you, Flau'Jae, hip-hop and basketball. But this is important because hip-hop and basketball have become two of the most powerful forms of self-expression in the world that we've ever seen. And although basketball was created in 1891, we know the cultural soul of the game is directly tied to something like hip hop. And so the current result, I guess you can say, is just this is why hip hop and this is why basketball have the international appeal that they do. And so I want to jump right into it. And we were talking a little bit backstage about it. And for everybody out there, everybody watching online, I want you all to participate as well. It's kind of like a mixtape of memories in a sense for hip hop and basketball. But what is the first real memory that you have of hip hop and basketball colliding in a real meaningful way? And what did it do to you?
For me, it was like Mike.
Yeah.
It was just like seeing Lil Bow Wow, like playing in the league, and he was Lil Bow Wow, but then he was Calvin Cambridge. And so for me, it was that bridge between like hip hop and then basketball. And I just watched that movie so many times. I lost count. But I remember we're playing bad. I remember that, to this day. So, yeah.
Calvin was hooping in that movie, though.
Yeah, oh, God. He was dunking and everything.
Yeah, Calvin was hooping.
For me, it would probably be, I don't know if anybody remembers this album or these videos coming out in the 90s where a bunch of NBA players actually put out an album called B-Ball's Best Kept Secret.
Hello.
Like, I remember, like, the video that played all the time on the box was Cedric Ceballos, and he had a song called Flow On, Flow On. He was rapping. I think Warren G wrote his lyrics for real for it. And it had, like, Gary Payton had a song on the album, like Isaiah Ryder. It was crazy. So if y'all Google it, B-Ball's Best Kept Secret, it was a whole album. It was a compilation of NBA players rapping. So that's my early memory.
You really dug in the crates for that one.
I'm showing my age.
I like that. I like that one.
For me, it was the day that I got my Georgetown jacket, starter jacket.
Ooh.
It's a fashion statement.
Ooh.
Georgetown, growing up in Los Angeles, we thought Georgetown was a HBCU because of the way that they played, that identity. And so for me, it was getting that jacket and really thinking about the meaning of sports.
Those are three really good answers. I guess if I can answer my own question, it's either one or two things. You remember that episode of Fresh Prince where Will was playing and Marcus Stokes, a.k.a. G-Money from New Jack City, was on the other team, and they were vying for that spot at Georgetown? I was like, damn, the dude who did Summertime can hoop. Like, I never knew. And so it's either that or Above the Rim. And that's a very important movie. Obviously, it's based off street ball culture in New York. And of course, Tupac Shakur is in there. And so I really remember, I was like, wow, like, those two worlds collided in a real seamless way. So continue to think of you all's own first memories of that, because I think that's like a really cool like time capsule thing that we can do. But I want to float over to the next question. I want to toss this to Flau'Jae and Heat. We're talking about the 50th anniversary of hip hop, right? But there's no way you can talk about that without the impact of women. Now, we talk about DJ Kool Herc, and he was DJing at the party that night, but whose party was that? Is his sister Cindy's party. And she has since become known as, the first lady of hip hop. So I want to ask you all, and I understand, these conversations can get really nuanced and complex, but looking at the next 50 years of hip hop, what type of opportunities and, situations do you want to see for women in terms of just continuing to establish their foothold in both of these worlds? And how can that improve things?
For me personally, what I want to see is like a female Jay-Z in like hip hop. I feel like there's like Rihanna. She's like a billionaire because of her makeup and cosmetics. But like I'm talking about like a female hip hop rapper that uses that hip hop platform and elevates it into something that's like big business. You know what I mean? Like that's the route that I want to take with it, and that I want to see more women take with it. Because I feel like, no offense, but like, women, we make the world go round. And so the fact that women can now be dominating a male-dominated industry, I feel like we also got that power to take it to the next level in a business sense too. You know what I mean? So for me, that's where I want to see hip hop go. I love where we at right now though. Like the girls are killing it.
No, y'all are really killing it for sure.
Most deaf.
For damn sure.
Definitely love where we at. I think I want to see a woman in hip hop become that household name across everything. So, you know, like how people say Snoop Dogg can do anything. Like, he could still do gangster rap, but he could do a show with Martha Stewart. He could put out a kid's album. I want to see a woman like that. I know we're close. We all love what MC Lyte is doing, you know, with her career. We all love what Queen Latifah is doing. But, you know, I would like to see somebody from this next generation, like, take over. Because, like, the money is out there even more now in hip-hop. So I would love, you know, for the young ladies to think long-term about that. Like, all right, I'm getting this hip hop money by performing in the concerts and all that, but let me branch out. So, you know, I could, 20 years down the line, I could be like a Snoop Dogg and I could put out, you know, a gospel album, children's album, reggae. Like, Snoop has put out every single type of music you could think of.
Hear me out on this. Since we're talking about these opportunities out there, and talking about the female Jay-Z, I would love to hear Cardi B host Shark Week. I think that would be the most amazing thing ever. Like, Snoop did it, and it was the most, like, entertaining thing ever. I know Cardi B could make that entertaining. I know she could have an amazing cooking show. So those opportunities are out there. Damion, I want to toss this next question to you. We know how hip-hop and sports have been vital and critical in terms of conversations around race. What is the role of hip-hop in sports, and hip-hop and basketball, rather, in terms of bringing these necessary conversations around race relations, around, you know, bigotry in all walks of life, and how can they improve on that or elevate in these next 50 years of hip-hop?
I think the role that hip-hop and sports have both played has been to elevate the voice of the common man. One of the things that we often see when athletes and hip-hop artists begin to speak, it's in response to the masses. It's in response to the people on the ground in Ferguson. It's in response to people standing up. And what they're able to do is to amplify that message. They're able to say that, no, it's just not in that one community, or it's just not that group of people. But this is a conversation which we have to engage as a nation. And what their voice does, it allows, or it doesn't allow people to hide behind the idea that it doesn't matter to them. And I think that's what rappers and athletes have done most effectively, is to give voice to everyday people.
Absolutely. I mean, you can look. You can look at just the last decade alone in terms of who's helped bring these conversations to light. I look at a song like YG and Nipsey Hussle's FDT. I cannot say what that acronym stands for FCC regulations right now, but you've probably heard it. And I look at, you know, what the ladies in the WNBA have done in terms of bringing out workplace equality in terms of pay, what they did for police brutality. So when we have these conversations, they're not just supporting characters in these conversations. In a lot of ways, they're leaders. Yeah, no, for sure. So, Heat, I want to come back to you for a second. Obviously, you know, you DJ the Wizards games, and you've been a mainstay in this city for a long time, in just both sports and music. So, what ways have you seen, you know, sports and hip hop like positively, you know, impact the community? Because we've seen basketball, we've seen hip hop, sometimes justifiably, a lot of times unjustifiably, you know, be critiqued in negative ways. So how have you seen these two worlds positively impact the DC community in particular?
Oh man, just see a lot of collaborations between, you know, the athletes and the artists, not only in this area but across the country. You know, you can see like basketball courts being refurbished. We can see givebacks, and you think like they're only doing it one time a year. You just think it's no. These people are doing so much out of the kindness of their hearts throughout the year, because they know. I think that's one thing about sports and basketball, because like artists and athletes can relate to each other in a sense that they both come from like the same backgrounds or like upbringings. Some of them do. And they can relate. So we're like, you know what, once I'm on, I'm gonna give back. So that positivity is definitely there, despite how everybody likes to like, oh, they this, or that. You know, everything doesn't have to be for social. Like it's a lot of kindness going on where everybody doesn't have to film it. Like, hey, I'm giving out a turkey right now. Nah, you don't have to do that.
You know, you mentioned something like not everything is for social, and I saw something on. They used to be called tweets. What are they called now? Are they
X's?
X's?
He just renamed them Post.
or is it post?
Yeah.
There was one, and there was a picture of like, what's the one thing about this athlete that a lot of people don't know? And it was a picture of John Wall. And I was like, yo, obviously John Wall was a mainstay in this city for a long time. He was, obviously probably the best point guard in Wizards history. But so much of what he did for the communities around here never made national news. And so, like, when I think about how DC will remember John Wall, they'll remember him as a great basketball player, at least they should, but he's also a guy that really stood tall for a lot of people in this city that otherwise, their voices would have never been heard.
Yeah, and his relationship with the artists in the city as well. A lot of people don't know like how John Wall's relationship was with DMV artists here.
Yeah, Shy Glizzy, I know Wale, all them too. So, Flau'Jae, I want to come back to you. Obviously, we're talking about impacting communities in a positive way. Can you speak on any projects or initiatives that you've participated in that have kind of blended, both of those worlds to influence your community?
Yeah, so I just actually did a give back in my hometown. I did a 3-day weekend.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was so dope. So, as y'all know, well, if y'all don't know, I go to LSU. I'm a college athlete. Just won a natty, you know what I mean?
Nah.
Not that, you know what I mean?
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you're underselling yourself. This is the first ever Hooper rapper that won a national championship. First ever.
Most dope. And y'all know now we can profit off our name, image, and likeness with NIL. And so I partner with all my NIL partners, Puma, I got a shoe deal with them, JBL, Mama, Experion, Mama, DTLR. And so I think I'm forgetting, but thank you. I didn't even mean that was all. I didn't even mean that.
No. Run your stats off.
Most definitely, but I wanted to tell them, like, I need to give back to my community. Like, they need to see this. Like, the kids have to see this. So we did a 3-day weekend. The first day, I went back to the Boys and Girls Club where I played at, spent all my time. I gave back $10,000 on the first day. And then, yeah, thank you. Yeah, and then the second day, I did a meet and greet. I got to meet and greet all the fans. It was amazing. And the third day, we did a 6-figure give back. We gave away school supplies, clothes, headphones, everything. We had a stage, we had cookouts, we had blow up things for the kids, and it was just amazing to see it. Like 3,000 people came out, and I was like, damn, we don't got enough stuff. but it was just dope to be able to come. Like, we were supposed to do a 3v3 tournament, but it got too hot and everybody had to leave. But it was just crazy to see the impact of the kids. Like, at one point, they was like, I don't even care about the shoes. Like, they were just happy to see me. And so that's why, for me, I think it's important for the kids to come and see me come back and be like, wow, like she grew up right here. Like, I walk the same streets as y'all, and they see me now. So I think that it's important for me to use my platform. And the fact that I am a rapper and a basketball player just make it even sweeter. But I like to show them, too, that, like, education is key, too. Like, I'm still a college student. Like, I tell them that's why another thing, thank you. They be like, to get out the hood, you gotta rap or you gotta play basketball, right? And I'm like, damn, I do both, so I can't be like, you know what I mean? But then I'm just like, so I made it my mission, like, I'm gonna go to college and I'm gonna get my degree so they can see, like, I did all three, you know what I mean? So it's like, it ain't like no excuse, you know what I mean? So I feel like my impact in my community from the start right now, what I'm doing at 19 has been great, but man, I know I'm gonna do so much more in the future, for sure.
Speaking of the future, the immediate future, and Mom already asked you if I can mention this, another great honor that Flau'Jae is about to have on August 24th, she's about to have an intersection in Savannah, Georgia, named after her.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I can't even tell you what I was doing at 19 years old. It was not getting a street named after me.
Yeah, nobody get pulled over on Flau'Jae Johnson Street. I'm saying that.
Yeah, I know that's right. Yeah, I want to prompt everybody in the audience and everybody watching online. If you have any questions, please feel free to get them ready because we will be asking them. So please get them ready. And again, your mixtape memory, your first, intersection of hip hop and basketball. So, Damion, I want to come back to you again when we're talking about the role of athletes and artists in within society. We've seen artists, speak on things like racism, sexism, mental health awareness, workplace equality. How have those conversations brought forth by these athletes and these artists changed the scope of the conversation over the course of the years? Because, we're not having the same conversations in 2023 that we did in 2003, hell, let alone, 2013. So how have they changed that scope?
I think back to when I was in college, and a lot of people around my age, didn't think that protesting, this is a post-civil rights generation, protesting or marching or making stands was the most effective way to bring about social change. And I think what these athletes and artists have been able to show is that when they come together in a united front and each support each other, that they can make change. And I think what's also been important to see, particularly in the world of basketball, how athletes have been able to generate different revenue streams so that they aren't dependent just on the NBA or just on the WNBA, has really empowered them in ways that we didn't see before. Because prior to this current generation, the 21st century, people's primary money was always tied to their athletic ability. It's sort of interesting. You think about LeBron James, first contract he signs with the Cavaliers, 4 years, $16 million. At the same time, he signed a $90 million Nike deal. And so I think it's athletes recognizing that they have to have some sort of financial independence. By having financial independence, it also gives them independence with their voice. And now we see them in a different position and have really changed our expectations of what athletes should do and who they should be.
Absolutely. That's a phenomenal answer. Thank you so much for that. Heat. So I want to ask you a question about this. We talked a little bit in the back. What is the most memorable intersection of rap and basketball in DC history that you can remember? And why is it Jay-Z and LeBron versus Deshaun Stevenson and Soulja Boy in the 2008 playoffs? I'm not sure if y'all know about that story. Maybe you could tell it, I could tell it, but I don't think that's your answer.
You could probably go into more detail about that story, but that was a crazy time with the playoffs with, Jay-Z made a whole diss song towards the Wizards, and the shout out to, there was an artist from here named Proverb, he made a diss song back that, we spun on the radio as well. So you gotta think, it's diss songs because of the playoffs playing on the radio. That's crazy. But for me, the memory is, like, about the show by age again. So remember when Chris Webber played for the Bullets?
Yeah. Ooh.
So what people don't remember is that Chris Webber also hosted a hip-hop radio show while here in D.C. So that memory with me, like, I remember listening to Chris Webber on the radio and him even trying to freestyle. Like, I think, shout out to Steph Lover. I think Steph Lover was on the show with him. So Steph Lover, great at freestyling, She's a legend here. So I'm listening to Chris Webber trying to freestyle on the radio, on his radio show. So to me, that's a good crossover. But no, I don't think, it definitely doesn't top, Jay-Z and Wizards and Cavs.
Yeah, that was a crazy time. But I also remember Chris Webber, when he was here in Washington, he was also a regular fixture on Rap City. Because I remember an episode of Rap City, he and Joe Claire were walking on the campus of Howard University, and he was just talking about his love of hip hop and everything of that nature. But no, those Wizards Cavs games from 2000, boy, they used to get ugly. Yeah, LeBron was not a fan favorite here. But Flau'Jae, I want to come back to you. You mentioned it in your previous answer. When we look at the landscape of college sports right now, it's more, a lot of people have a lot of opinions about it, but you have the opportunity to maneuver and market yourself in ways that previous generations could have never imagined for college, athletes. And I think you and honestly your LSU defending national champions team have taken advantage of that in some really amazing ways. So with these changes right here, how has that changed how you move as a businesswoman and as a musician?
It really just made me become more aware, I think, and act more of like a boss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and move like a professional. Because although I'm an amateur, and I'm not getting paid to play basketball, but my likeness is allowing me to, get deals and get exposure and things like that. So now, I look at everything different, like from the school to whatever. Like, they got me here for 4 years. They gonna practice me like a dog. You know what I mean? And they gonna use me up. So I'm like, bro, I have to use up every resource possible.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like, I stopped thinking like, I don't want to step on no toes. Oh, I'm finna step on all the toes. I only got 3 more years here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think for me, I started thinking, how can I really use this as a resource? Like, okay, I'm on campus. I'm gonna record my videos on campus. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna figure out NIL deals and partners and things like that. Now I'm more looking. I'm at the games. I'm not even looking at the game. I'm looking at who are the sponsorships on this scoreboard.
That's real.
That I could get connected with. You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking more in that sense. And so, but for me, it's always like keep the main thing, but always educate yourself. Because if I didn't do that, then I wouldn't be learning about all the stuff that I do. Like, I changed my whole major and my minors. Like, first I was in school for like sports management and marketing, and I was like, no, I want to do business.
Yeah.
I want to get into finances. You know what I'm saying? Things that's gonna help my career. So I think that I just changed my mindset from like more of like, not like employee, because I never want to be employee, but more of like an entrepreneur mindset, like a boss. Like, I want to have employees, you know what I mean? So I started thinking in that mindset, and I know that NIL is like the funnel for that, because it's the first time that college athletes really get to excel and use that platform. Like, I was watching a documentary, and I didn't even know it was like a Fab Five, right?
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Okay, y'all, don't do me like that. Come on now. I'm sorry. I'm doing my research.
Let her finish.
Hold up.
Let her finish.
I'm doing my research. I'm trying to go back and pay homage.
There
Because
you
somebody
go.
in my comments, they
I
was
respect
like,
that.
y'all remind me of the Fab Five. I'm like, who's that? And then, But no, for real though. I was seeing how, they changed like the culture. They had the bald heads, which is crazy in college to me, but whatever. And then the black socks, you know what I mean? And they had the Nikes, and the Nike was actually selling shoes that said the Fab Five shoes, and they weren't getting compensated for any of this, right? They were still eating ramen noodles. And I was like, I watched the documentary, and I was like, wow, like times has really changed. So I'm like, imagine if they could have capitalized off their name, image, and like this. Like I seen like before Michigan, I'm gonna stop right now. But before Michigan,
Keep it going.
they had like 1.4 million in revenue, and then after them freshmen came, it went up to $10.6 million, and they didn't see a dime. You know what I mean? So I just know that I'm blessed, and I just want to use this to my advantage.
Nah, look. I appreciate you because you were like, I did my research.
Yeah.
Like the Fab Five was what, 90, 91, 92. And
I was not born.
hey, look, I'm showing my age, but look, I respect it because I've met people who said like they don't really care about what happened in the past. They just care about themselves. And it's very refreshing to hear somebody say, yo, let me do my research. Because you don't know until you know, right?
Right,
so
right.
I really respect that. I just got one more follow-up question for you, Flau'Jae. And you mentioned just keeping the main thing, and understanding, what your talents can be showcased as. But who would you consider some of your biggest mentors from a business perspective?
Man, like I ask a lot of questions.
There you go.
Nobody has took me on their wing yet, but as soon as they do, I will. But I do a lot of research. Like, I listen to a lot of podcasts. Wyclef, that's my mentor. Wyclef, he really like has been teaching me a lot, not only about music, but business, and then just how to be as a person. I really look up to like I'll follow Dame Dash and kind of his philosophies. I love Steve Harvey. It's a rapper.
He get after the bag.
Yeah. Oh man.
If there's a bag to get, Steve
He
get
got it. It's a rapper in LA. His name is La Russell, and I really love what he does. I don't know if y'all know, but he sells his music like directly to his fans. They're able to buy music. He has this thing on his website where it's like pick your price, and and this man came up off of that. So I like stuff like that. And I'm real business minded. Like I just love to learn. I really love Earn Your Leisure. I watch their podcast all the time. And so I'm just always eager to like learn more. So I just try to educate myself. It get kind of frustrating at times. I really need somebody just to pick their brain, but hopefully if somebody's watching and want to mentor me, I'm here.
And look, that is coming. That is coming.
What's that?
Heat, I want to come back to you. Obviously, you're so well versed, entrenched in just the music scene and the sports scene here. How have you seen an expertise in both benefit you, from a business perspective?
Oh man, both, because it's wild. Like music and sports has become my life. And it's a blessing. So like I've always loved basketball since coming up. I suck at playing it. I've always loved music and DJing, so to be in the opportunity in a field where I travel the world to do sports and music, like that's the real benefit, to be here on stage, like talking about the intersection of basketball and music, and just the opportunities to show people. The main thing like now I'm really focused on is showing other people, especially artists, how much of a career opportunity and money that there is when it comes to music and sports and music and basketball, just music and sports, period. Meaning, so we watch games, you hear people come out with an anthem for a song, like, oh, this is the official song of the NBA Finals, or this is the official song for this and that. All these teams need original music now, because what has changed is, we've all been a victim of posting something online and we using a song and we get hit with a copyright because they're like, it's not your song. That was happening to sports teams as well. I remember when the Houston Rockets account got deleted because...
I do remember that.
Yeah, because they posted something with a song. So what's happening now? Teams are tapping in with artists and producers in their cities to make original music. Like I'm blessed that last season for the Wizards, I had an idea for our 25th anniversary season to have DJ Kool remake "Let Me Clear My Throat" for the Wizards' 25th anniversary season. So all last season when we had our classic throwback games, this video would play, and it's DJ Kool, and I went in the studio with him and everything. So that's one idea. I had a friend that made original beats for Mystics and Wizards, because another thing that we're dealing with is during games. You hear beats playing during games is getting to a point where they want me to play original instrumentals during games so they could post the highlights on social media. So I tapped in my homie who makes beats. Hey, I'm playing his beats at games this season for the Mystics. I was like, you know what? They was looking for an idea for a song. Like, how about we do an original song? The Mystics had never done an original song before. I tapped in with an artist that I know from the area, have somebody produce it, come up together, boom. So before a game, like I'm literally almost crying because our hype video when it plays is like this is my idea right here. So thank you.
That's big.
So that's what music and sports has done for me, and I want to keep going. And like again, for the artists out there, the money is out here for making that original music, or just making hype music that I could play during warm-ups. Because like music, a lot of rap music is so like the tempo is like low vibrational. I can't play that during warm-ups. Like the players want to get hype. You want to get ready. I know you relate to that. Like some actually a fan requested your music. She tweeted me like, "Hey, can we get some Flau'Jae?"
Well, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, because your music got that energy and it's hype. So that's things to think about, man. I know we just think about rap, but from everything from producing, just intro videos, just songs for the season, all that. So.
Yeah, look, backstage, Damion asked Heat about the Wizards' upcoming season, and she launched to a full-fledged preview. I mean, not even just the players on the team. She talked about the front office. Meanwhile, I'm listening because I'm like, all right, next time on Around the Horn, I got to say this, I got to say that. So, like,
Hey, man, that was off the record.
yeah, she was look, that was impressive. So, yeah, I think we're going to start the audience Q&A. They bring that up. If not, I do have a question I wanted to ask Damion. I'll ask you that until the questions come up here. You work here at the museum, obviously, one of my favorite people here. I've interviewed Damion probably about 5 or 6 times for a story, and he's always made me look smarter than probably what I really am, so I appreciate you for that. But just in terms of the evolution of the museum and the artifacts that are here, how have you seen that change in a beneficial way for you? Like, what are you most proud of in terms of the evolution of the sports department here at the museum since it's open?
Well, one of the things that most people don't know is that the sports gallery was the last gallery to get approved in this museum for a variety of reasons. One, you just got to make tough choices. Two, I think a lot of people thought that the sports gallery might somehow legitimize, in some people's minds, the biological notions of racism, that African Americans are biologically different in meaningful ways, which always comes with that unstated B clause that you are inferior in some way that's much more impactful and meaningful, such as intelligence. And the third is that I think people were fearful that the sports gallery would be just fun and games. Would it tell a serious story? And so what I am most happy about with the sports gallery is that people who don't like sports, and I mean the people who can't tell you the difference between a slam dunk or a touchdown, don't even know which sport you're talking about, leave out of the gallery with the greater sense of why sports matter and why they matter far beyond the playing field. And it also gives them insight, not just on that macro level, but also that micro level. It helps them understand their grandfather or their sister or someone that they know a little bit better because now they can see why they're so invested in this as an important topic. And so for me, that's been the greatest joy of working at this museum, is to be able to present sports in a way that tells African American history. The way I see it, it's not a sports gallery. It's not about people who run fast and jump high, but rather what I try to do is to tell African American history through the lens of sports, and people get it. Because when you open a museum, you have no idea how people are gonna respond, and you don't know if they're gonna throw tomatoes at you, but people have really gravitated toward that space.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now we've got some questions. The first one from the virtual audience, and this is for DJ Heat. How does DJ Heat keep the crowd hype with music during critical games? I think that's a really good question because I would be so focused on the game that I would forget to play music.
No, because so when it comes to me doing Wizards and Mystics games, what a lot of people don't realize is like everything you hear, I'm doing it. When offense has the ball, I'm playing those sounds. If you hear everybody clap their hands, when defense has the ball, defense. When somebody has a sound effect, when they make a free throw, the sound effect, that's me. Somebody travels, I'm playing a sound effect, that's me. And the craziest thing is people think it's just DJing. So this is the scenario I give folks. Imagine it's the fourth quarter, 30 seconds left. Both teams still have 3 timeouts left. That means there's a possibility of 6 different timeouts happening in 30 seconds of play. What are you going to play during each of those 6 timeouts? What's the energy? What are you going to play once a timeout is called? I'm looking at the coaches on the visiting side thinking, like, all right, after we make a free throw, they probably going to call a timeout. I need to have a song ready. Yep, there you go. Coach just called timeout. Here's the song. After the team breaks the huddle, what's going to be the walk back music song? I got my boss in my headset probably calling audibles like, hey, let's do a crowd pump after this. Heat, I'm already playing one song. Heat, switch to something else. We're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. It's not, it's not just DJing. It's enhancing the entire element of the sport. The energy of the sport. Like, I'm sure you feel it when you go to games. Just notice it more when you go into a game, like the music elements that's happening, especially in those crucial moments. Like I said, like if there's 6 timeouts about to happen in 30 seconds, or even like with football, because I do football as well. You know, I'm playing a football, you're playing a song in between each down. So think about how many songs I'm playing in between each down. As soon as the ball, you know, it's a down, I'm playing the song. All right, they breaking the huddle. All right, cut the song. All right, complete. All right, there's another down, like touchdown song, this, and that. I could go on and on, man. It's a lot to sports.
You just ran my damn blood pressure.
That's how much.
That's
Listen, I'm used to it. I'm used to it at this point. Like I love the excitement. I love throwing out, you know, different stuff for not just the team to get hyped, but for the fans to get into it as well.
You know, some people think like, oh, I could be a DJ. That's pretty easy. Like, oh no, it's not.
Let me throw you out there.
Nah, that's stressful as hell. Flau'Jae, this is a question from the audience as well. Who are some of your favorite basketball players that you feel embody the spirit of hip hop, and why?
Probably Allen Iverson.
Yes. Yes.
I got that one. I love AI though, because it was just like, I mean, I never watched him live, but like I seen the highlights and I watched his documentary, and like he shifted the whole culture. You know what I mean? Like I actually heard his rap song for the first time. I was like, ah.
Yeah, that got me in a little bit of trouble back in the day.
I was like, whoa,
David
but
Stern was not too happy with that.
I was like, whoa, but I was like, he was like the embodiment of like somebody that I seen from my neighborhood that just went on the NBA floor. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how it went. Like he changed the whole dress code. He made everybody start wearing suits. Who did that? Like I think that's like the closest thing for me. People still rap about Iverson braids to this day. Like it's still a style that's embedded in the culture. So that goes to show how he's impacted and how much he like bridged that hip hop to basketball gap. I think AI is the one.
See? Y'all owe her an apology for that fact.
Say sorry.
Say sorry. Damion, this is a question from the virtual audience. Can you speak about any artifacts in the museum that highlight the connection between hip hop and basketball?
Cool. The first that comes to mind is the Georgetown starter jacket. When the museum opened, made sure that we had that. To the LeBron James, couple of LeBron James items. One, the Sports Illustrated magazine when he was 16 years old, still in high school, junior in high school, on the cover of Sports Illustrated, labeled The Chosen One. Key moment. LeBron James, once again, wearing the black and white shoe that said equality. Those are in the museum's collection. I think the WNBA's opening slogan, "We Got Next," which I still think is one of the greatest slogans in sports history.
Absolutely.
Is in the museum.
Absolutely.
So those are a couple. And I'll point out one more. We have Kobe Bryant's jersey. Before he passed away, he's a $1 million donor to this museum.
Wow.
Wow.
And he came to the museum, and I got to spend about 45 minutes with him talking sports and talking about his legacy. And then I said, Kobe, I know you donated $1 million. Can you donate a jersey? And he was like, yeah, sure. And so he sent an NBA Finals jersey.
Wow.
But then when I did some more research, I started laughing because it was from the finals that they lost to the Celtics. It's like the ones we won, I'm keeping those. You had this.
Yeah, that's the most Kobe Bryant thing I've ever heard in my life. That is the most Kobe thing I've ever heard in my life.
So Kobe.
Yep. This is from the virtual audience as well, and I believe this is just for everybody. How do events like AllStar Weekend, NBA and WNBA, help further the music between, help further the relationship between the music and basketball worlds? Because you can't have one without the other at this point these days. Whoever want to answer first.
Like off the top of my head, I'm thinking of not just with the crossover with the different activations and performances that's go on through the weekend, but from like my side of things, from someone that has worked both WNBA All-Star and NBA All-Star, it goes back to what I said about like money being in original music and creating music for sports and licensing, because I forgot which event I did, and I had to do just all licensed music that ESPN sent to me from their library. Actually, I just did that last week. I DJ'd the basketball tournament in Philadelphia, and I was sent a large library of music that is approved for ESPN. So that's what I see. Again, outside of the major artists performing, but if you're trying to think, if you know anybody that's thinking of another route to make money, hey, the licensing business, the sync business, make that original music for sports, man. Because like I couldn't play nothing else. I had to listen to every song and label it what tempo and what it reminded me of because I'm not familiar. But I was like, oh, this sounds like a Meek Mill type of song, so I'll play it during this part of the dunk contest and so on and so on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think for me, one of the most important parts of this, and we haven't really talked about the fans that much, which are really key because it is amazing how diehard some people are when it comes to their team or their rapper. Debates, discussions, showing up, concerts. I know she's not known as hip hop, but people still talking about the Beyonce concert that was here last week. It's just kind of crazy to see how invested. It's not crazy. It's important to note how invested people are in the things that matter to them. And for many people, the great part about hip hop and about basketball is that they are so connected. So you often get 2 for 1.
Absolutely. So I have a question from Nicole from New York. It's a long question, but I'm gonna get through it. She says, first, I would like to applaud everyone on their accomplishments. But here's her question. Everyone mentioned giving back to the communities, which is absolutely needed. But giving back to improve our communities, which are largely disenfranchised and impoverished, what do you want to do to improve the economic conditions of these communities?
For me, I think it's like financial literacy. I think that's very important.
Very much so.
I think it is because just like a lot of people, we just don't know how to handle money, and even so, it's like we just don't make enough money. You know what I mean, to even stay afloat. So I think it's really just like financial literacy. Like that's what I tried to do in my weekend. Like when the kids came to shop at my give back, I gave them $4 or Flau'Jae bucks. And when they ran out of $4, they had to talk to Experian about credit and things like that. So I think financial literacy is key, especially when you start getting more and more money and pouring that back into the communities. I think, for me, using resources that I have, like I don't have $100 million right now, but these companies, these companies that I work with, I know that they do. So pouring those resources back into the community for the kids, I think that's what's like gonna help the structure, like to build something new, to build something better. Like I feel like there's a lot of information out there that we don't know about.
Absolutely.
So I think that's like a major key.
Just to go off what you said right there, I think another important part is changing the curriculum in schools at times, because I feel like if I would have known about, what is a credit card, what is an interest rate, what is all this, but I'm learning about trigonometry, which I'm not saying it's not important, but I use a credit card every day of my life. I ain't used calculus since my year in high school.
No, They gave me this course when my senior year of high school, and it was the coolest course for me because it was like, it taught me how to get a bank account, how to get a credit card.
Yeah.
Why do I need a credit card? What do I have to pay back if I miss my credit card dates? And I took a whole course about it, and for me, it was like, dang, it fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I actually enjoyed it. And so I think like we definitely need more of that. Like they're changing the stuff that I'm reading on the internet about changes and all of this is ridiculous. But that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole another conversation
but
right there.
Definitely in schools, like kids definitely need to learn about that.
Yep. Do you have anything?
Sure. I remember during 2020, one major corporation made an announcement that was a little bit different than what the other corporations were announcing. And what they said is that we're gonna take $1 billion and put it in to African American banks. And that was such an important move because for every dollar that you have in the bank, you can loan 10. And so by putting that 1 billion, they're able to multiply their impact. What I would like to see athletes do and entertainers do is to figure out how to pull their money and put it into strategic banking places that then benefit African American communities.
Absolutely.
Amen to that. Amen to that. So we got about 5 minutes left, but I do want to ask you all one question about hip hop and basketball in the sports world, and another world that both have collided in a very significant way, and that's fashion. When I look at, you just mentioned Allen Iverson in your previous answer, Flau'Jae, the dress code change in 2005, that's what it's officially called. But unofficially, it's called the Allen Iverson rule, because where you go back 20 years from now, 20 years earlier, basketball's corporate relationship with hip hop was a lot different than what it is right now. You know, if Allen Iverson played in 2023, he would be this beloved figure in the NBA. But in 2000, he was chastised, he was maligned, he was called everything but a child of God. So the question I want to ask you all is, how have you seen the conversation around fashion in these worlds change? Because it's not just about what you wear, but it's also about policing how you wear it, policing how you wear your hair, policing how you wear your clothes. How have you? What's been the biggest changes you all have seen in that conversation?
This is gonna be cool. I think just cause like the different, generations of how y'all see it. I think now like people are more free. I think like people like you wear what you want to wear. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that women are able to express themselves differently. You don't have to dress a certain way in order to, you know what I'm saying? You just dress how you want to. And I think that it's different in the culture. Like for me and my generation, like we just do what we want and act a fool with it. You know what I mean? Like it's no like don't really care about people's opinion. You just be who you are and your clothes signify that. You know what I mean? And so I think that it's just been changing. You went from y'all was wearing some big old pants and XL shirts.
Oh man.
You know what I mean?
Shout out to the hot
You was
boys.
one of them ones, I know you were. And now it's skinny jeans and you know what I mean? So I think that it changes with the time, but I feel like we're like, this generation is just more free with it.
Ooh, Flau'Jae, if you go on my Facebook page, you go back far enough, you'll
man.
see me wearing like a 5X white tee. Like,
For what though? Like
I definitely was a franchise boy back in the day. Y'all go ahead. I didn't mean to cut y'all off.
I'm thinking about the franchise boy image. It's all, like I dressed the same way. I had the like Air Forces and the tall tees. Fashion now is definitely embraced, by the leagues. Like it's tied into it. It's a part of the team culture because we see walk-in fit videos and photos. Like teams have redecorated where the players walk in so the shots could look better. Like I've seen it myself. I've seen I could look at photos from a team like 2 years ago when players are walking in, they take pictures of the fits, to photos now like, oh, y'all got neon lights in the back and all this now to walk in to highlight what the fits look like. So that's a super dope thing right there.
Yo, just once I want to do that.
Listen,
I just want to walk into an arena and have a camera follow me. Like,
it's fun.
Back
we
in the
do
day,
it.
I wanted to do the wrestling music, like have Stone Cold Steve Austin
listen.
as I walk into a room. Now I want to do the basketball walk.
No, do it. Let me tell you, everybody that's an employee that's not a player, they be doing it. They be like, yeah, hold on, okay, we gonna walk in this way.
Yo, hit me with the slow mo.
Yeah, let me get my shot when you walk in. And like one thing that also comes to mind with me is like last season. When Kyle Kuzma for the Wizards, where he wore the big giant pink sweater.
Oh man.
So guess what we did the following season? We gave away Kyle Kuzma pink sweater bobbleheads to fans because that was such a big fashion moment in sports. It's like, all right, listen, we gonna embrace it. Even our mascot somehow made a big pink sweater and came and did a walk-in flip with We wouldn't have seen this years ago because nobody want to, like you said, it had the big suits and the big giant jeans and all that.
The zoot suits, yep.
Yeah, even the stylists. People got style. I'm fans of stylists. Like one of my favorite stylists is Courtney Mays. Like she styles like Chris Paul and a bunch of other athletes. Like who would have thought that would be fangirling over player stylists too?
Yeah, yeah. Damion?
Sort of interesting. You mentioned the brawl. And what's amazing to me is how many people are not familiar with this incident where Ron Artest goes into the stand.
I thought you meant the Alabama riverboat.
No. But everybody know that one 2023. That's right. That's right. But when Ron Artest goes into the stands, I still remember where I was when I first saw that footage. And the fallout from that was that Blackness is not welcomed here. It's the dress code. We are going to go to Europe. We're going to South America. We're going to Asia. We're going to develop all of these basketball players, international players, to come in and replace African Americans. Basketball Without Borders, all over the world, the NBA is trying to cultivate in order to replace. And what's amazing about that moment was how African-American players said, we will not be denied. Okay, you want us to play this way? Because part of the critique also was not just how they dressed, it was how they played. The one-on-one dribbling, improvisational aspects which made the NBA into a mega business is no longer welcomed. Okay, so you want us to stand on the perimeter and pass the ball and shoot? We'll play that way too. And for me, the most important thing was about the resilience and determination of people to not be denied.
Incredible, incredible. I was at a concert at ODU that night when Malice at the Palace happened. Believe it or not, it was a motley crew. It was Jim Jones and Lil Scrappy. Lil Scrappy did Head Buster like 25 times, so I'm charged up leaving that game. And my homeboy called me on my flip phone that I ran out of minutes with. Yes, to the youngins out there, we had minutes on phone. And my boy called me, he was like, turn to ESPN right now, they fighting fans. I'm like, man, get out of here, bro. And I knew, to speak to your point, Damion, like, I knew a lot was gonna change, and I was dreading the conversations then. But one conversation that I did not dread is this one right here. Y'all have been amazing. It's time to wrap up. Thank you to everybody.
That was hard.
Y'all have been incredible. I love it, I love it, I love y'all. Just one more, before we get out of here, where can they find you all on social platforms? Damion, you're not on Instagram, and I don't know why. Every time I try to tag you, it comes up with a dog picture of somebody named Damion Thomas. Please, I need to get you on Instagram.
I am a federal employee trying to keep my good government job.
Them people is watching.
As my grandmother would say.
Go ahead, it's on you.
That's funny. All of my social media is at DJ Heat DC, website djheatdc.com. And catch me on the main stage rest of the evening.
There we go.
I'm going to be DJing in between the acts for the rest of the evening.
Y'all don't have to follow me on Instagram. Just go get my mixtape. It's out right now.
Yeah.
It's called For My Fans with a 4, For My Fans. It's super hard. It's going crazy. Yep. I got my EP, Best of Both Worlds, dropping soon.
There we go.
And yeah, I mean, my name is Flau'Jae. Y'all can go find me on there. But go give a mixtape first. I will give out a follow.
Also, if you go to Flau'Jae Snapchat, you'll see my son on there.
Yeah, he's super cute. I can see him.
You can find me on Twitter, X, whatever it's called, at Justin Tinsley, Instagram, at Justin Tinsley. But yeah, that's a wrap. Thank you all so much. I hope you all continue to enjoy the block party. It's a great time. And shout out to my people right here out front, you know? Yeah.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for attending such a wonderful program. And we would just like for you to keep your seats while our panelists exit the stage. Please join us in other parts of the museum and head out to the main stage for a wonderful set of performances. Thank you.
Flau'Jae, how you doing?